This is episode 262 of the Super League Pod. This is the one where we're joined by both halves of the 2019 Listener of the Year award. And we've got just the bonus quiz question you need to find out if it takes a nerd to know a nerd. There's hot takes from all sides on this week's lockdown topic. Who knew folk would get so fired up about concrete and sheds in West Yorkshire, eh? We talk stadiums, those old, those new, and those crumbling between the two. We've got news too, and just the one tongue-in-cheek match review. So get strapped in, because it's SLP time. Hello listeners, you're listening to episode 262 of the Super League Pod. You got myself, Mark, we're joined by Sarah this week, we're joined by Alan, and we're very excited to have our favourite double act, Tom and Paige, on the show as well. So welcome along everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Tom, Paige, we're going to get to you guys a little bit more in a minute. And tell people that maybe haven't heard your voices on the show before, but have certainly heard of you on the show before, I'm sure. A little bit more about you guys. But Sarah, do you want to let everyone listening know, first of all, about our wonderful episode sponsor?
I would. So this episode is sponsored by Rob's Toy Shop. You can find a wide range of toys, gifts, rugby league birthday cards and more at Rob's Toy Shop on eBay. Visit stores.ebay.co.uk/Rob's Toy Shop, and on any orders over £5 you can earn 5% cash back, and 1% of your order value will go into the SLP coffers by entering SLP discount at checkout.
Excellent stuff. Thanks to Rob's Toy Shop for their continued support. Please do continue to support Rob's Toy Shop, although he's very busy. He hasn't got enough time for us anymore, Sarah.
Never writes, he never calls.
No, please do support all our sponsors and partners. What we've got coming up on the show this week, we've got some news. There's some sad news, some very good news, and then some coronavirus-related news. Then we've got one match review to go through. I think it's a parody. It might get us talking about... A very important game from a few years ago, though. And then we're going to be talking about stadiums this week. We're going to be talking about the best we've been to, the worst we've been to, that sort of stuff. And we've got loads of people's views in on that, including a very detailed overview of the Super League stadium situation from Always in Our Shadow. So, actually, do you know what? Not that nasty about Hull KR compared to what you'd expect.
Well, and there'd be good reason to be nasty about Hull KR in this situation.
So he's become, he's obviously mellowed in lockdown, Always in Our Shadow, but that's great, and there's lots of other stuff as well from loads of other people, so that's fantastic. We'll get to that in a little while. We're going to start by getting the reigning Listeners of the Year co-shared award, 50-50, equal, Tom and Paige. Welcome to the show, guys.
Good evening.
Hi.
So, for the listeners that don't know, you maybe, if you're new this year or didn't follow the back and forth between Tom and Paige last year throughout the year, Tom's a Hull Kingston Rovers fan, Paige is a Hull FC fan, but that did not stop them, their hearts coming together and then becoming a couple. And guys, the way I've heard the story of you two getting together is you hooked up on Good Friday after a derby game, but I'm sure that's not quite the full story. So, Paige, do you want to tell us a little bit more about yourselves and how you got together and that sort of stuff? Because how does that work?
We did first fully meet on a Good Friday. It's really sad, actually. We went bowling. We went bowling, then we just went for a meal, and then we kind of just went our separate ways, and I gave him the friendly South Stand wave into the North Stand, and then it just kind of went from there, really.
So you went for a date before the game?
Yeah.
And then went to the game?
Talk after.
And then met up again after?
No, we didn't meet up afterwards, we just didn't talk for a little bit. It was a bad match.
So someone had the hump after the game?
Well, Paige didn't go to the game because it was at KR and she refuses.
I refuse to go to that ground. It's filth.
Well, we've definitely got an opportunity to talk more about that later on, Paige. So that's fantastic. So how's it work, Tom? The dynamics in the house, and obviously you've got little Blake as well. How's Blake gonna be growing up in this situation with black and white versus red and white?
We've made the very adult and definitely not influenced by Paige's decision to let him grow up and make his own choice. But we've already took little jabs to try and persuade him each way. Like Paige's apparently mum, even though I think it was her, bought him
wasn't me.
tiny little Hulk AR kit.
FC kit.
FC kit, sorry.
Jesus Christ.
I took a jab back by buying him a brick on the wall of the new stand at Craven Park with his name on it.
Well,
that's going to be awful for him,
isn't it?
Sorry.
What'd you say there, Sarah?
I said, poor lad, can you imagine? Like, he's going to be a teenager, isn't he? And, like, chiselling his name out in embarrassment.
There's more Hull FC stuff in this house than there is Hull KR stuff. So I think I'm winning.
But you're both, of course, season ticket holders. So how does that work when you... how's the banter work at home? And is it all good-natured?
Most of the time. Depends how heavy the loss is. For an example, last year at Magic, when FC got hammered, she wasn't my best friend for a couple of days.
The worst thing was, I was with his whole family who are all Rover supporters. I was the only Hull FC supporter there with them.
Oh gosh, for a full day out as well on that as well.
Full weekend.
Full weekend, not just a day. It was a weekend.
But normally it's all friendly and we get along-ish.
So what happens on Derby? Obviously, we found out on Derby Day, Paige doesn't go to Craven Park, but on a Derby Day at the KCOM, what happens? Do you guys go to the game together?
You have to beg my dad for a lift.
Yeah, no, we don't sit together. We sit completely opposite ends. So I'll go in the north stand with the Rovers. She's south stand ticket holder. So we just.
And does there tend to be one or the other waiting at the end, ready to gloat, or do you forget about the game happening and get on with other Tom and Paige stuff?
Oh no, not for about a week.
I think at the last one we all got flags. There was loads of flags in the Hull FC end.
Yeah, there were.
I happily ran back to my dad's car where Tom was waiting and was waving my flag in his face.
We need videos of that sort of behaviour. That's the sort of thing we need to be sharing on the socials. Good stuff, guys. Well, it's great to have you on the show, and we're going to get to the news soon, Tom, so don't let us down. Obviously, you are the news opinion man. But before we do that, we've got a shout-out to do for all the listeners to let them know that Dave Cantrell, Dr. Hideous, will be doing another SLP Zoom quiz on Wednesday night. We learnt our lessons last time, so this time, if you want to be involved in the quiz, send us a DM on Twitter or Facebook, and we'll give you the details ahead of the 8 p.m. start on Wednesday night. So send us a message between listening to this and, say, 7:30, 7:45 on Wednesday, and once we've got the link for the quiz on Wednesday evening, I'll send it over to anyone who sent us a message in the meantime. But please do get involved. He's good at making the quiz quite short, so there's plenty of room for everyone to catch up and chat and get some rugby conversations in, as well as conversations about why is Dave Cantrell asking us about the arts. He's promised that he won't do an arts round this time, though, I've got to say. So it would be cool to have lots of people involved with that. It's really nice to see everyone catch up and that sort of stuff. So that's a lot of fun. So please do get involved in that if you can. And Sarah, you had a shout out to make at the top of the show as well.
Oh, it was Helen's birthday yesterday, so happy birthday, Helen. That's my sister.
Yeah, so your sister, fellow Hull FC fan and friend of the show. So happy birthday, Helen.
Yep.
Excellent stuff. Shall we move to the news?
Let's do that.
Yes. Okay, so we move into the news, and before we get on to the C word, we start with more sad news. Will Forsyth, the former Gisby Rams player, has died after a battle with cancer, aged just 24. The utility back, who was a junior at the Bradford Bulls, played for the Rams back in 2015 and played for the club in their Challenge Cup quarter-final against Warrington that year. He was a regular in the club's reserve grade side.
Yeah, it's a sad story. So, our thoughts go out to his friends and family there. Rest in peace, Will.
Absolutely.
In other sort of much more uplifting, positive, happy news here, Hull Kingston Rovers prop Mossy Masoi has walked unassisted for the first time since sustaining a career-ending spinal injury in January. Masoi, who's 30, was hurt in a tackle during pre-season game against Wakefield. He had several weeks of treatment at Wakefield's Pinderfields Hospital, and initially was able to walk with a frame before he left the hospital. In a video now that he posted on social media at the weekend, Mosso paid tribute to the hospital as he walked across his kitchen while his daughter pulled the frame in front of him, so effectively walking unaided, which is absolutely fantastic. An online fundraising page set up to support Mossy and his family has so far raised more than £100,000, and just seeing his progress in this video is heartwarming for everyone, and a real opportunity to feel a bit of cheer at this time after the fears that he would never walk again. It's fantastic to see. Tom, I guess I come to you on Mossy because he's a Hull KR man.
Yeah, it's fantastic to see. It's sort of a bit of positive news in the current social media filled with just morbid negativity. I'm really happy that he's started to walk again after it looked so doubtful. He's a very nice bloke and was a very good player.
Yeah, it's fantastic progress for him and his family.
Yeah, it's particularly positive considering obviously early on there was a lot of there wasn't a lot of hope about that kind of the potential to walk again. So it is amazing actually when you consider the progress in 3 to 4 months when it was such a serious injury. So yeah, good on him.
What's next, Sarah?
So over 25 clubs from 16 different countries have applied to be a part of a brand new set of European competition, which the organisers have promised will help fulfil the huge potential of rugby league in the continent. Euro 13 has been described as a real game changer for European rugby league and those behind it. And those behind it have insisted that the idea is much more than fantasy, as the game on mainland Europe aims to take a major stride forward next year. Key figures in Italian and Spanish rugby league, including Dean Buchan, the man behind Valencia Hurricanes, who harbour desires to enter a League One side in the future, are behind the launch, which will involve a cup competition in 2021 before a full league being introduced alongside that in 2022.
Who wants to pick this one up first?
Have we seen the 25 clubs? Has that list been published? Because I haven't seen it.
I've not, but I've not actively gone looking either, so it might just pass me by.
I've read several pieces about this, but I've not seen a full list of the clubs. But we do know that there is sort of fledgling domestic competitions across Europe in lots of countries, from the Scandinavian countries, the Netherlands, Germany, there's these people in Spain. In Italy, there's been lots of attempts to get the game to stop arguing with itself and get started. So
sounds like it'll fit in perfectly with rugby league generally then.
Well, I don't know if this means they can stop arguing with themselves because they've got to argue with other countries now. And there's obviously Serbia as well, where the game's kind of making promising strides too. So without seeing the necessary teams, I think they're the sort of countries in particular it's coming from. But it's across the whole continent. It's a big scope to it, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean this is the trouble. I mean, as somebody who's a bit of a fan of everything Dutch, I have been following the kind of the development of the Netherlands League, and there's 6. I think there was supposed to be 6 teams this year, which obviously is baby steps. But the issue is obviously you end up with a very short season. You end up playing each other multiple times.
Yeah.
So having some kind of level